All right, capacity for when you're studying, um, when you want to study a language. How would you go about this? When I talk about capacity, it's about you being able to study and to also study comfortably. Now, first things first is you would need your own kind of space to um, to be able to practice, because at first you would be doing a lot of reading, listening, more in the what is called passive part. You most likely will start with that. But you can only do that when you are having no distractions, when nobody is bothering you, when nobody's interrupting you, etc. So it means about having your own space with a desk, and probably it also means something like earphones, headphones, something like that, so that you can close off your senses and not being distracted. You can't do this perhaps for too long, as in you would, if you're in a household, but you must make sure with your family and friends, etc. And also on your phone, by the way, put your phone in silent mode so that you are not distracted whatsoever. Everything must be going into um, into learning the language, and therefore no distractions. And this helps you in your capacity. Um, what also helps in your capacity is that you yourself are in a good mood. If you're not in a good mood, don't do it. Don't start. It will hurt your capacity. But also, when you are unstable, it's not the right time. It will hurt your capacity in order to learn. For example, if you're unemployed, that is unstable and that hits you in your capacity to learn. So don't do it. Do you have any kind of psychological problems? Deal with that first prior to start learning a language. You must be stable and really have a good look at yourself if you are stable in order to learn the language. That is absolutely necessary in order to do so. What else do we have about capacity? Yes, we talk about is the finances. So going to study costs money. Even if you go low budget, it would still cost you money. So you must make sure that you will have at least a bit of a budget reserved for paying for certain things in order to do it. Can be, for example, transport to go to a volunteer to practice with. Can, for example, be paying for a paid app that allows for unlocking very useful classes or courses. Having a bit of finances reserved, I would say about maybe 2-3% of what you earn per month is probably necessary in order to do so. And this also, of course, goes into the next category, your needs. Your needs, as in, for example, foods and drinks, and we already talked about sleep. But in this case, I'm talking about also the quality of sleep. Not the amount of sleep, but the quality of sleep. And the quality of sleep is something that belongs to the capacity. Because somebody that sleeps 4 hours, but really well, will be better well rested than somebody that sleeps 8 hours, but really poor. So proper comfortable blanket, pillow, mattress, on a bed frame. It's not too hot, it's not too cold. So also invest in the climate control. All aspects that make you comfortable. This is really important. Comfortable. And let me tell you a personal story about this. I myself would still like to go to learn Mandarin. However, I've been already delaying it for more than 3-4 years because of multiple reasons. But one of them is that I took a really good look at what do I need in order to feel comfortable to study. As it turns out, it's quite a long list, quite a lot of requirements before I feel comfortable to study. I'm currently not very often hitting that spot where I'm comfortable to study. Therefore, as I'm not comfortable with it, I will not start with it. The point I try to make with this is that you need to identify for yourself what you need to be comfortable in order to study. That you will prefer study over a lot of other things, even things that you find entertainment in. Very, very important, because this is directly affecting your capacity to, for long periods of time, to study. And that also brings me to another question about learning a language. It's called entertainment. You will most likely get into the situation where you actually don't like to learn. That is why schools often have a very pressuring mentality and mindset, because they know they are not fun. They are useful, but they are not fun. And because of it, you always go with some kind of resentment to it. Now, in schools, you will do it because there are a lot of pressuring powers that will fight your resentment, and you will be losing out. But in this case, you will not have it. The only one you will answer to is yourself. So you are both the teacher and the student at the same time. It comes down to discipline. And one of the things you need to figure out is, do I find entertainment in learning a new language? And I'm like, really look yourself into the mirror and be absolutely honest here. Do you really find entertainment? Do you like to get headaches from hearing so many new words and etc., and trying to puzzle all the information together? Would you still find it funny when you have a headache at the end of the day? Most people won't. So finding ways to make learning the language, or to make learning a language, does not matter what language, just a language, is incredibly important, because it will not be fun every day. In fact, maybe just 50-50. It would be fun. And this is something where you really have to be honest with yourself. If you can't see the fun and the entertainment in it, and in accepting the drawbacks before you start to experience the benefits, you are not ready to learn a language. And that would eat in your capacity to keep on going. Last but not least, if this is you, is to have about 3 to 4 other people around you that are willing to help practice you with. They need to be been there, done that. Now this is of course where, for example, HelloTalk comes in, but these topics that we are currently discussing is also something you need to be discussing with them as well. And you will most likely find out that about 90 to 95% of the people would somehow fail somewhere over here. So it's like finding a needle in the haystack. But it is really important, because if you are stable but the others are not, it will drag you down. And if others are not stable, or are stable but turns out to be unstable, and you are also not stable, so both are unstable, you would both crash. So the commitment of learning a language is just as much a commitment to the other person to practice with you every week. And you need multiple people, because first of all, different variations and different ways of explaining. And at the same time, people get fed up if they see the same person and face every time again. You need some kind of variety, some different people. So by having 4, you would have enough to do every week, but the other person would only technically kind of see you just maybe once, maybe twice per week, and that's about it. That's good enough. That way it stays fun for both, and you still get what you want. Now, when we have talked about all of that, of course, I would also reserve a big spot for AI tools. And ChatGPT, of course, is one, but I would also say Gemini is one. These two tools really help to enhance your capacity. You can ask them a lot of questions, and they help you to learn a language as well, and to make and connect, to help you to make connecting the dots, which is very important in order to truly learn a language. I hope this helps. So we've talked about time and capacity, and if there's more, then I will make another video and we will continue with that. But for now, answer this first, put it all on paper, and visualize like if I'm ready or not. All right, thank you very much. Bye-bye.